Real estate is about freedom, choice freedom, time freedom, and money freedom, and the impact you can make with that freedom. But it doesn't come without cost. Your freedom takes work. That's why Neil Timmins brings together the tools you need to build your real estate legacy, from tips and tricks to interviews with industry titans. It's all here in one place. Real grit. Let's get to it.
Hey, it's Neil Timmins. I'm here with John Jackson. He's referred to as the king of lease options by educators, speakers, and investors across the country. He's transformed many of his techniques, methods, and structure that has been the backbone of lease options. It is the gold standard. His company, Leasing to Buy, they refined many ways in which lease options can be structured and executed so that over 98% of his buyers obtain permanent financing within 12 months. Absolutely unheard of in the industry. And take it from me, a guy who's got a number of options out there. It's unheard of, not even close. As an educator, John's the only educator in the US to teach Texas lease options and the unique laws of Texas. Real estate attorneys have referred John based on his education experience and expertise in the field. And he's going to talk to us about how to do it with no credit, no money, no risk, almost no competition, and to do it in pretty neighborhoods with pretty houses. So I'm pumped to have him here. John, how you doing?
Man, Neil, I was just basking in the glory you were giving me and batting my eyelashes. I sound so phenomenal. I almost want to date myself.
If you weren't taken, you would. I'm certain.
If I wasn't taken by a beautiful Brazilian, I would so date me. I sound like, look at this, Neil. I just realized I got this shirt on, John, because I say I'm so great. You got to say my name twice.
You got to say it twice.
This is actually a shirt from Brazil, and John's a brand down there.
A brand down there, yeah.
So I thought it was appropriate for me to wear. But yeah, Neil, great to be here, man.
It's good to see you, man.
Super excited to be here. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you start firing off.
Let's do it. Tell me, everybody started someplace. How'd you even get into this biz?
So the way I got into real estate was I used to trade. I used to be a day trader, doing doing options and stocks. And so I did that for a couple of years. I wanted to get into real estate. And at the time, this is 2002, probably. There wasn't much online, at all. And I considered buying houses and renting them out. But again, not knowing anything about anything, all I saw was, okay, let me see, I have to go buy a house, rehab it, get a loan, the whole thing. Then you rent it out and you're making like $150 a month. Again, I didn't know anything. Yeah. I did have a friend that had a couple of rental houses and he made like $150 a month. And I thought, well, that just seems like a lot of work for $150 a month, right? Yeah. Nevertheless, going through different types of real estate, just looking, browsing, I would come across blurbs about lease options. Well, the word options caught my attention because I trade options.
Right.
Well,
I know what that is. Right.
I know what that is. Yeah. Wait a minute. Maybe this is something I can get into.
Right.
And I would dive into it. Again, not a lot of information at the time, but at the time, Neil, lease options were touted as a way to rip people off. Hey, get someone into a house that has the option fee, the down payment, the option fee. Yeah. They're never going to buy the house. They can't even qualify for it. After 12 months or so, they can't make any more payments. You kick them out, say, thanks for playing. Boom, let's do it all over again to get somebody else in the house that can never make the payments, but they got the down payment. Otherwise, that's wrong. But the structure of a lease option, I get that. It just clicked. It made sense to me. Right. So I said, what if you take the actual benefits of a lease option, that structure, that framework, and build a business around that framework, which is where my company Leasing to Buy started. And that was in 2003 that I started it. And within 3 months, I'd done my first lease option, then did the next one, within a few weeks after that. Just a few weeks, within a few months, 3 or 4 months, I was doing this full time. Yeah. And this was my full-time gig. But that's how I got into real estate and specifically lease options.
All right, so educate the crowd for those who don't know what a lease option is.
So a lease option is simply a lease with an option of purchase. Mm-hmm. Some people call it rent to own. The easiest way to kind of picture it is this. If you've ever leased a car, like a Cadillac or a BMW, anything like that, if you ever leased a car, you had a lease option. That is a lease option. We do the same thing that BMW does, except we do it with a house. Mm-hmm. And the difference is our buyers, our leasees, are going to be buying that house. They're not going to give it back at the end of the lease. They want to buy that house. So that's what a lease option is. Same thing you get on a BMW or a Cadillac. So what we do is we work specifically with pretty houses and pretty areas and pretty people. So versus wholesaling, which is nasty, filthy, ugly houses, the left side's falling off, and just nasty houses. The difference between wholesaling and lease options, I call it P money versus pool money. Right. And if you've done any wholesaling, anybody watching or listening, if you've done any wholesaling, you know exactly what I mean by P money. You walk in, the ammonia just boom right in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You go home, there's fleas all over. It's just nasty. Yeah. I don't like that. I like pretty clean pool houses that I would live in. And that's what we work with. Houses that are $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes. That's what we work with, is pretty houses, not the ugly trash houses.
So tell me, if the option component of that, the lessee ends up paying an option fee at some point, typically upfront, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way what we do is, and I don't want to get in the weeds here, but there's 3 different types of lease options. There's a straight lease option, which is just 2 parties, a sandwich lease option, which is 3 parties involved, and this is the investor sandwiched between the seller and the buyer. Yep. And then there's the lease option assignment. Some people call it a wholesaling lease option, because you are assigning your contract to that end party being the people that are going to be living in the house. Yep. Right. And so that's what we do, Neil, is we specialize in lease option assignments, where we put that contract together with the seller. They're getting full price, no negotiating, no commission or anything. And then we assign that lease option to the end buyer, who's going to pay us our assignment fee. They're going to move into the house. They're going to make payments to the seller. And then, of course, we will help them. We work with them, and our lenders guide them to the process or the point of finance. Of
financing that piece out. Well, it sounds like what I heard you say there is you've got a unique strategy, which not that many people do or know how to do. And you've got multiple exit strategies. You've got multiple ways of cashing in.
Yes. So what we do is, and this is important for everyone to understand, with the lease option assignment, you're not taking down the house. You're not making payments on the house, right? Just like with a wholesale deal, you put the contract together, right?
Yep.
And then you assign it. With us, we put that contract together. We give ourselves 90 days to market this lease option, right? To assign it. Now, here's what's interesting though. While we have this lease option, this 90 days to market it, right? Which it typically takes us 45 days, but still, while we're marketing that lease option to our clientele, to our list, the seller is still marketing it on their own for sale by owner. It may be listed at the same time. That's fine. Whatever they want to do. And that makes a huge difference when I tell the seller, look, I approach this as if it were my house. And if it were my house, I'd want to have every avenue possible.
That's right.
To market my house, because it's my house. Don't make me sign something that says that I no longer have any control or say so over my house, right? And that's one of the big rubs that people have with real estate agents, is they make them sign basically, giving their firstborn to the agent, right?
That's right.
And so we do the opposite. And I tell them that, look, we're the opposite of an agent. I'm here to help you. Right. You can do whatever you want with the house while I do my thing. You never pay us a dime. Our buyers pay us. Market it, whatever you want to. You can cancel anytime. So they love that freedom.
Yeah. Hey, talk to me about, so let's pivot. Talk to me about just your entire business, your entire career since you've gotten into this industry. What has been the most challenging pieces of it that you've experienced?
Wow. The most challenging piece is I'm going through a challenging piece right now. Right before we started this, I was talking about how I'm going to write a new book called Should I Scale My Business or Slit My Wrist? Which I think anybody faces when you're trying to scale, which that's a whole podcast there. Right. But as far as challenges that I faced, going again, as this goes back to 2003, not knowing what I was doing, not really having a handbook or a rule book on, literally all I had, and I think I still have it, was a binder. It's like a 98-page binder on what lease options are. That was it. Here's what a lease option is. And I had to go create this idea for a business. Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes I made is having absolutely no clue in the value of a mentor, someone who's walked that path that I want to walk, and hiring them. They're a good mentor's worth their weight in gold. I cannot stress that enough. As I go into apartments and multifamily and raise capital, guess what? I'm intentionally surrounding myself with some of the best in that space, because I know I don't have another, 19 years to learn this on my own. Right.
Yeah.
So find a mentor. They're worth their weight in gold, a good one.
It's a shortcut, is it not?
The shortcut. If you want to be a surgeon, if you want to be an open heart surgeon, you don't do that by watching YouTube videos. But yet somehow, so many people have in their head that if they watch enough YouTube videos, they understand the ins and outs and contract law of real estate and people's biggest asset on this earth. That's not the way it works. So get a mentor for sure. Business partners. That was a very challenging time. Very early on, a good friend of mine became a business partner. And there was no need in that. Looking back, I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't understand what business partnership was. Partnerships in business, it's like going to the principal's office. When you're a kid in middle school, now when I was growing up, I've been around for a while. When I was growing up out in the country, mind you, if I got sent to the principal's office, I was going to get my butt whipped. All right. That's just what they did back then, especially out in the country. And so when you're walking down to the principal's office, it's easier and more enjoyable when you got your buddy with you. Because you're both going to get licks. We call them licks. Yeah. You're both going to get licks, but that's okay because you got your buddy with you, right?
Yeah.
It's like Stand By Me or something, Yep. So that's easier. But that's how so many people, and I was guilty as well, that's how so many people approach partnerships. Is they're friends with somebody and they go, oh, hey, that seems really cool what you're doing. Hey, let me work with you. Okay, yeah, come on, we'll be partners. But you're really doing that because you're really just wanting the support and the confidence and someone to lean on walking to the principal's office because you don't want to, you're probably going to get your backside licked. Yeah. Try not to cuss on your show. I know I'm sure you've got a family audience.
We'll cut it. We'll cut it.
Yeah, I need a 7-day delay. Believe me, the way I normally talk. but so partnerships, rather than having a partner, I say if someone is a good fit for your company, don't make them a partner. Make them an independent contractor. Worst case, making them an employee. And everybody has specific roles. And
a lot of people get into partnerships because of exactly what you just said. They're friends with somebody. They think it'll be great, not necessarily so that it's complements the business in the best possible way.
Yep, absolutely. And you've got to know exactly what everybody's roles are. And so partnership was a big issue that I had to lick my wounds on that. Especially once I had to dissolve that partnership because we were very, very good friends for many years. Well, that's a marriage, that's falling apart. So that's a big thing. And then another thing that I did wrong was there were times in 2008 and 2009 as the market crashed that was my busiest time ever. Neil, when the market pulls back, lease options are vital, guys. Right. Lease options, seller finance, guys. These creative tactics are going to be incredibly powerful as the market pulls back. And I sort of don't know exactly what is going to take place in the market, but
it's not getting better.
No, having studied technical analysis for years for stock market and been in the real estate arena for 19 years, I've got my own opinion of what's going to take place. But anyway, at the end of the day, the government knows what they're doing and they're intentionally driving this crap in the ground. Anyway, did I say something about Jekyll Island? Is that what this topic was about? I'm sorry.
Tell me, so you've had to go through a number of things and make mistakes as you've gone. That has inspired certainly I would imagine some growth and a new perspective. Today in your business, what are the non-negotiables in your business when it relates to bringing people in? Let's focus it on employees, on partnerships, on those that you surround yourself with. Those in your 5, right?
That's a good one. I was not prepared for this. This level of intelligence, Neil. Nothing against you.
Well, we've met. We've met. You should have known.
Wow, a non-negotiable. I think values, but what at the end of the day, what is values? And I think it's about: are we all on the same team? Are people operating independently for their own good versus the entire team? So, if this is a basketball team, is someone on the team that they want the ball all the time? It's all about them. And versus the team, and it's in those difficult times that the team players stand out versus the solo people that are on it for them. And so those are things that you keep in mind as you start to turn the ship around and things get better, you start to say, okay, now who do I not need on this team?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Who's time to trade? Yeah. Sorry. So team over individual.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
What's the largest thing you do individually, personally, that attributes to your success?
Creativity. Mm-hmm. So, and I say it because at the end of the day, I'm not an analytical person. I'm a creative person. I did stand-up comedy for 10 years of my life. And so I love that creativity. Well, creativity comes into business as well. And I say that, for example, with marketing, I say that creativity will always beat recklessly used money when it comes to marketing. Mm-hmm. As we hit roadblocks or challenges in our business, and we've got to get a pop in the account or generate some revenue, I go, okay, I got to get creative here and think of it from a creative standpoint, not a stressful standpoint. Right. And so that's one of the things that I thrive on is saying, okay, what do I have? Let me focus on what I have, not what I don't have. Right. And what do I have? Well, I've got 19 years of experience. I've got creativity. I'm a very good teacher. I can put phenomenal presentations together. And so it's that creativity. So anybody out there, watching and listening, creativity is so important. Having the analytical mind is good for the accounting department, right? But creativity is my super strength.
Wait, if you didn't have creativity, would you say that? Would you say it's that important? Or would you put, if you found yourself to be an analytical human instead of a creative human, would you be touting analytical mindset? I'm going someplace with this. So humor me with the answer.
If I was analytical, then of course I would say that being analytical was my super strength, and not being and that creativity was not my super strength. I think, and this is my opinion, I think when it comes to challenges in business, that the analytical people, they're going to see more black and white, and they're going to see things from an intelligent standpoint of this doesn't add up, this doesn't add up. Yeah. Whereas if you look at it from your heart and go, yeah, but I'm creative. Hey, that's okay. I know what that says, but dude, you're not gonna believe. Here's some things I could do. Right. And so I think the analytical person is going to face challenges, maybe even with more stress. Yeah.
So what you said earlier that struck a chord with me is that you focus on the things that you are good at. You don't focus on that which you do not have. And so in the mind's eye, we get in which we focus on the most. You play to your strengths. You focus on your creativity. You lean into that. And as a result, likely has propelled your business to heights that somebody who wouldn't have that, who'd be more analytical, probably couldn't achieve.
I would agree with that. The analytical person is going to be better at
a number of things, right?
Yeah, right. Play to your strengths. I'm never going to be the best accountant, or I have no desire to do that. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah. Right. John, well, you'd be a hell of a creative accountant.
So I'd be very creative. I promise that decimal point's supposed to be there.
There's always supposed to be 3 numbers to the right of the decimal point. That's right. Doesn't that work for everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, take me back to your childhood. Think about growing up. What was it or who was it that had the greatest impact in your childhood that makes you who you are today?
I would say it was my mom. But to me, my mom was like Carol Burnett. So the biggest impact was my mom, or actually, believe it or not, Carol Burnett, as odd as that sounds. So when I was in 6th grade, I wanted to be Tim Conway. Yep. So I'd watch Carol Burnett. Yeah. And then at school, I would do the Tim Conway routines. I would imitate Tim Conway. And the teachers didn't think it was funny because apparently they didn't watch Carol Burnett. They didn't know what the hell I was doing, And so I'd go to the principal's office. But Carol Burnett, I love the show Carol Burnett. And that was a big impact on me. And my mom she was very quick, very funny. So I got my sense of humor through that, my speed and my wit and everything. So even young, I could fire back very, very quickly, which may or may not have got me in trouble in school. Interesting. So far in this conversation, I've mentioned about 8 times about going to the office, getting licks and getting in trouble. But yeah, I love the Carol Burnett show because there again, the creativity. You didn't always know where the skit was going.
Nope.
And
total pioneer.
Yeah. And so I loved that creativity.
Do you have siblings?
I've got one sister. She's 3 years older than me, and late last year, early this year, became one of my students.
Oh, is that right?
And which I was like, oh, really? But I said, well, if you're going to come out as a student, you're going to pay, right? Because if you don't pay for it, you don't appreciate it.
That's
and
correct.
She's actually surprised me. She's getting it down. I think she's closing her 3rd deal at the end of this month.
Yeah, that'll make for an interesting Christmas conversation, will it not?
Yeah, yeah. How her brother helped her make money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do this. I want to move on to the final segment, what I call for impact. Your favorite quote. You never really own your possessions. Your possessions own you. It's from Fight Club. Yep. What about that resonates with you?
I think it kind of keeps things in perspective. In this day of social media, you go on social media, you see all these 24-year-olds, whatever, that, they wholesaled 5 houses. So they go out and buy a watch.
Yeah.
And they get a tattoo. And it resonates with me because it keeps in perspective about what is all this for? I've got a vision board, don't get me wrong, right? But those possessions do not define me. A house in Florida does not define me. It's something I aspire to, but it doesn't define me. So understanding that your possessions, you never really own your possessions own you. As an example, watch a guy has a brand new Corvette, right? And he goes to the store or whatever. He's not going to park it in a regular parking lot. He parks it way out. And I've seen this where I still will always remember this guy in a Corvette had parked way back out in the parking lot. And I'm sitting there in my car waiting on the kids or something. And I see him go out to his car. Before he even unlocks his car or puts his stuff in, he walks around the car twice. And then he looks against how the light to make sure that's not a scratch. I'm like, dude, you don't own that car. It owns you.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
or they park in 2 spots.
And if you get a little scratch on that car, guess what? Their month is ruined. They're livid. So it keeps in perspective about, what is it all about?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think it is that holds most investors back from hitting their personal next level?
Well, it's the comfort levels. It's the 6 words that kill. So all of our comfort levels comprise of the 6 words that kill. The 6 words that kill are, yeah, but, what if only. And those are the words that your subconscious says to protect you. See, your subconscious there, some people call it the rabbit brain. It's there to protect you, whereas your conscious brain is the thinking brain.
Right.
So every thought or desire that you have to take action on something has to pass from your conscious through your subconscious to make sure it passes, the test before you take action. Mm-hmm. And so your subconscious will stamp any thought or idea or desire that you have before you take action. It's going to stamp it oftentimes with, yeah, but you don't have enough information. Yeah. What if the seller says no? What if you screw that up? What if you mess up the contract? If only you knew how to do multifamily. If only you had the right person in place to raise capital. So it stamps all these ideas you have with denied, sends it back to your conscious brain, and your brain goes, oh, that's right. Yeah, I need more information. I need to go get more books on my bookshelf. I need to go listen to more podcasts and YouTube videos and this and that. So it's those 6 words that your subconscious is stamping your ideas with. The worst action you can ever take is the action you take when your subconscious stamps an idea with approved with caution, because that means your action is going to suck pond water from a duck's butt, which means your results are going to suck. And then your conscious brain is going to see those sucky results and go, see, I knew this wasn't going to work. Why don't I ever listen to myself? It's because your subconscious, it was holding you back, because approved with caution. You see, wealthy people decide quickly and adjust, whereas poor people or unsuccessful people, they never decide. And as the saying goes, the road of life is paved with dead squirrels that couldn't make a decision. Like, go left or right, I don't care. Just go. It's far easier in life to be 100% committed than it is to be 95% committed. And if you doubt me, look at any marriage that has issues. It's far easier to be 100%, man, I'm in, baby, boom, versus 95% where I'm in, but I'm kind of planning just in case. A what if?
Yep. Tell me, outside of real estate and of training, of coaching, what are you most passionate about?
Well, I love talking about, as you can tell, I get passionate about talking about belief systems and why we think the way we do. Right. And what goes on in the brain. I'm passionate about going to the gym. I just, not to be a big bodybuilder, I just love the dopamine going and the endorphins. But I love psychology and looking into what makes us tick. Why are we the way we are? So literally, oh my gosh, today, as we're recording this, today is a major milestone in my life. Today is 3 years with no alcohol in my body whatsoever.
Good for you.
Which is a massive, it's a massive thing for me. I was a crap show as I was going through a divorce and all this, and it was just a mess. But through this sobriety, I've used this time to not take it for granted, but to dive into, well, that's odd. Why was I like that? Why couldn't I just stop drinking alcohol? Right. And as you dive into that, or as I've dove into that, seeing what goes on in the brain, the psychology, that what forms a habit, how the neurotransmitters fire to each other, that actually has a lot, it ties into success and failure, and why we create the habits that we do. So I get passionate about that. I love listening to audiobooks about like Atomic Habits, 12-week year, anything like that.
Yep, that's great. Tell me, what's your favorite way to make an impact in the community?
I would say is passing along what I've learned over 19 years, really helping somebody achieve success. And success could be one deal, could be 5 deals. But even more importantly than the deals, I think, Neil, is making an impact on the way they see life, the way they approach things. So I've had some students that they would consider that maybe they hired me as a mentor, come into our coaching program, but for whatever number of reasons, they didn't get a deal across the finish line, but they were beyond ecstatic about how they grew during the time with me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what's important, I think, is just helping people, take a look at how they approach life, how they look at things.
Yeah. Hey, for those who want to connect, follow you, learn more about Lease Options, learn more about your work, what you do, how they can connect with you, where can they go? What should they do?
Yeah. So I've got a couple of websites I'm going to give out. So my main website, is, you can probably see behind me, is leaseoptionclasses.com, leaseoptionclasses.com. However, for this podcast, I've put together a special landing page with a bunch of free stuff for all the Real Grit viewers and listeners. It's free, leaseoptiontraining.com, free, leaseoptiontraining.com. They can go there, get a bunch of my documents, free download stuff, an hour and a half or so of me, a video of me training and going step by step how we do lease options. So free, leaseoptiontraining.com.
No, that's terrific. I appreciate you doing that. And we'll make sure we get the links in the show notes for all the folks there. John, I appreciate you taking the time up. It's, I wish you'd have a little more energy, quite honestly, from joining here online. A little low key.
Yeah. This is a somber interview. And don't forget, people. Don't forget, everybody. John.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're good. John. You're a good friend. I love spending time with you, and you're a wealth of knowledge, and the work you do is tremendous. And I know you impact a lot of people in a lot of ways. So I appreciate you making time for our conversation today.
Well, thank you, Neil. I was really looking forward to this. So it didn't live up to my expectations, but that's okay.
Next time, if you bring a little more energy, maybe it would live up to your expectations.
No, I have massive respect for you. So I was really I've been looking forward to this. This has been a lot of fun, Neil.
Yeah, no, thanks a ton. Hey, for everybody here, Real Grit, I'm Neil Timmins, reminding you that real estate requires real grit. I'll see you next time. If you like our content and want more, you can access it at realgritpodcast.com. You hear it guest after guest. Instinctively, you already know it. But let me call it out. The most expensive action is inaction. The real estate market is full of opportunities. You just need to uncover them. You can build a business that lasts for years, makes monumental impact in the lives of those that you love. It's not just about business, but about the freedom you get because of it. Have you ever heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone? If you want to go far, go together. I believe that partnering is essential. In fact, I partner with hardworking investors all the time. The point is that you can get a lot further with the right partner. Let me say it again, the right partner. If you've ever thought about partnering with anyone, or if you have a partner now, I encourage you to download my free Partner and Profit Guide, which includes the top 5 must-answer questions to evaluate a profitable partnership. You can find it at www.legacyimpactpartners.com. I'll see you in the next episode.